We've been exploring the answers to two questions. The first is, what is it that remains when all of human love is gone? And the second is, what is it that could be the meaning of the absence of illusion? Tanzen was the most famous musician in all the lands. His compositions, his playing of the lute, and his honeyed voice could bring the birds down from the trees and even made the angels jealous. But Tanzen was the musician for the great king Harun el Rashid, the court musician. And one day, Harun el Rashid said to Tanzen, "Great musician, tell me, who is the musician who is your master?" And Tanzen replied, "O great king, I could not call my master a musician." And this piqued the interest of the king, and he said, "Can we invite him to the palace to sing and play for us?" And Tanzen said, "If you invited him, he would not come." So the king said, "Can we go to him?" And Tanzen said, "My master would not play before kings." So Harun el Rashid, now with a thirst to know the song of this master, said, "Well, what if we go and I come as your servant?" And Tanzen said, "It may be possible." So they set out, Tanzen riding the horse, and the king, Harun el Rashid, walking beside him in the garb of a peasant. They went up the mountain to arrive at the cave where the great master abided. But as it happened, the master sensed the humbleness of the king as Tanzen and he approached, and he began to sing and play. Tanzen and the king, Harun el Rashid, fell down in ecstasy as the sounds of the music and the sounds of the song washed over them. Their eyes closed. They remained in ecstasy for some while. When they opened their eyes, the master musician was gone. And Tanzen turned to the king and said, "We will never see him again, because he knows that anyone who is touched by his music is forever and ever enchanted." They returned to the king's palace, and after some while, Harun el Rashid said to Tanzen, "Sing and play for me the song that your master sang and played." And so Tanzen did. But afterwards, when the song was finished, the king said, "It is not the same." And Tanzen said to the king, Harun el Rashid, "You see, great king, I am in the service of you, the king, but my master is in service to God." There are two great poets from the Middle East, Attar and Saadhi. Attar is that great poet who wrote the Song of the Birds, the Conference of the Birds. But there are two small stories told by each. The first one told by Attar, who tells that there was a group of moths who fell in love with a candle light. They were ecstatic. "We're in love, we're in love, we're in love." But all they could see, it was a bright light. So the master, Moth, invited a volunteer to go and find out what the flame was. When the moth came back, he said that when he got closer, there was a sizzling sound and there was a flame. And the master, Moth, said, "That's not it." And he invited another volunteer to go. And this moth went, and when it came back, it said, "Yes, the flame burns, and it's so hot, and my wings got singed." And the head moth said, "That's not it neither." So a third moth was invited to go. And this time, the moth was embraced by the flame, making love, and disappeared into its heat and fire. The master moth, knowing this, said, "You see, this is one who understands, but he cannot speak." And the story of Saadhi is in the first person. Saadhi says, "I was with a group of friends when I heard a conversation between a moth and a candle. And the moth said to the candle, 'I'm so in love. I'm in love, I'm in love, and I don't care if I'm destroyed.' But then the moth looked at the candle and said, 'Why are you crying?' And the candle said, 'This that you see running down my sides are the tears of longing. I long to return to my home, the honeycomb from whence I came and of which I am made. This is why I weep. But you call yourself a lover, and yet all you do is flit around the flame, perhaps singeing your wings, while I am burned from top to bottom.' Just then, one of the friends came and blew out the flame of the candle. But the candle continued to speak, to say, 'Now love has ended. But if you want to know love, you must remember.' So there are two questions that arise from these stories. What is it that we must remember? What is it that is the difference between these two stories, one of the great poets, Attar, and one of the great poets, Saadhi? What is the meaning, the difference, the meeting point of these two stories? And what is it that we must remember to know love? What is this love that remains when none of the human loves assuage our heart, assuage the longing that we have? Trying as we do to find it in existence. What is it that remains when all of the human loves tasted on our tongue, but not bringing gratification? What is this love that remains? What is the meaning of these stories? What must we remember? Thank you.